Welcome back. So, we're going to now show some quick changes you can make to your simulation to make it a little bit more interactive with Dr. Arnold here, as well as some easy changes you could make to your simulation utilizing the Rules tab. So first and foremost, let's focus on making Dr. Arnold a little bit more interactive of an individual. So first thing, we're going to want to go to our scenario flow. We're going to go to our introduction, and we're going to add a state action at the start for look at. So look at as a function will let you control where a virtual person's attention or view is at. So by choosing who he's looking and whether he is looking at a virtual object, another person, or another virtual object in the space, and identifying who that target is. If it's a player, this will be defaulted to this, and you want look at to be true. This will make it so that as we are walking about, Dr. Arnold's head will do its best to follow the player's movements and make it look like he's making eye contact with the player. The next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go to the Settings tab. Now for the Settings tab, what's important to us here is we want to enable the microphone input. This will allow us to speak into the microphone and get responses. Next, we're going to want to select a virtual assistant. Otherwise, the voice will just respond from without piping it through a virtual person. So if I select Dr. Arnold, and I prefer the voice Justin. Okay, so with this, we have this set up here. There are other options that you can add here within the situation and simulation, as well as platform-specific settings that you can set up here. But for now, these are all that you need. If you have any questions or need further details, they are located in our user's guide. Next is we are going to add the artificial behaviors or intelligence of Dr. Arnold. Now, you may not have the ability or access to this from the free feature. If this is the case, you will need to be utilizing the paid version of our simulation or of our software. But it is very powerful and very useful for adding intelligence to your simulations. So, as I have that functionality enabled here, I'm going to click Enable Chit Chat. I'm going to name him Arnold. And here you can type a few sentences describing the characteristics of our individual. In this case, you are a helpful science teacher who is conducting the Tollens flame test with students. Answer their questions about the chemical compounds and the results of their experiments. The samples that they have access to are potassium, strontium, and copper. Okay? And I'm just going to change the name here to Arnold, so that when it speaks, it will say Arnold rather than Dr. Arnold Light. And with this, I have created a chit-chat agent that I'm able to speak with and get feedback on without actually creating any of the other behaviors. So if we go to our experience and see how it's different now, when I go through this, we'll see what's changed. So first, when I get in, you can see that there is no difference in my experience initially, except for Dr. Arnold is now looking at me. As I move about, you can see it follows. Also, I have this selection down here where I can press tab to toggle my microphone on and off. So first, let's just talk to Dr. Arnold here. Hi Arnold, what color does copper burn?
Hello there. When copper is heated up in a flame test, it produces a green color. This coloration is due to the energy released when the copper electrons return to their ground state from an excited state. Do you have any other questions about this experiment?
So you can see here, I didn't produce that information. This is created from the information that we gave him from that prompt and is using the AI system and what's available in the environment to come to these conclusions. He is very intelligent and is able to ask anything that we give him based off of that prompt. You can give him a lot more data quickly using the PDF system, but here you're able to speak with him and have him answer questions with very simple and easy to author instructions. I can continue with my simulation as I go, as well as answer or ask him any questions for him to answer as I go through, independent of where it is that I am doing this. So with that, I'm going to exit here and show you another improvement that you could make to your simulation if you wanted to. So, sometimes when going through simulations, the scenario flow is great for various actions that you want to perform and guiding users through one specific path, but sometimes you're going to want actions that can be taken outside of this scenario flow. In order to do this, or in order to allow such actions, you would utilize the Rules tab. Rules are like states, except for they can occur at any time during this flow. As such, when you create a rule, it needs either a trigger or a condition, as well as the resulting actions. So, when this trigger occurs, and all of these conditions are met, then do all of these actions. I'm going to create a simple functionality from here to where I, as the user, am able to turn the Bunsen burner off or on at any time during my simulation. So in order to accommodate this, I'm going to go to my Bunsen burner and I'm going to create two new attributes. The first one is going to be toggle burner. And this is just going to be a true-false variable. Initially, it's going to be false. And then I'm going to add one more, which is burner state, which is going to be a string, and initially, it's going to be off. Okay. In order to create this functionality, I'm going to need a total of 3 rules. So the first rule is toggle burner state. This one's going to be the most straightforward, which is when we use our burner, we are going to change the attribute of toggle burner to true. And that's all we're going to need to do for this one. So find set attribute, create Bunsen burner. Not burner state, but toggle burner to true. Okay, and then we're going to do turn burner on and turn burner off. So, in order to turn burner on, we don't need a trigger because we've already changed the attribute here of toggling it to true. So we're just going to do a condition here for the burner. And toggle burner is true. But we only want it to do this if the burner state was originally off. Okay, so we're going to set the attribute of toggling the burner to false because we don't want it to do this as an infinite loop. So we're just going to consume this toggle burner. We are going to change the state of the burner from burner state off to on. And lastly, we are going to adjust the flame color. Oops, sorry, not this. We want to go to our burner flame default and make it visible, allowing you to turn the burner on here. We're going to repeat this structure for turning the burner off. So we need two conditions. One, for when we've tried to toggle it, and two, if the burner state is currently on. You want to consume the toggle burner command, set it from off to on, or sorry, from on to off, and we want to make the orange flame no longer visible. All right. So with this, we would be able to toggle the state of our burner whenever we feel like it through our simulation. Now, doing this in this current setup does introduce a potential visual error in our simulation, where the user could, theoretically, have turned on their Bunsen burner and then turn it off and then begin burning the samples. You would be able to add conditions to your collision here, to your collision here, if that is the case, where the Bunsen burner must be on in order to correct this. So the burner state must be on where you have this colliding condition here for each of these, which would resolve that potential discrepancy and would not allow the user to create that error. Okay. And with this, you've allowed your user to turn the Bunsen burner on at any point and go through the simulation. So with that, rules are very powerful and able to do a lot of things and create situations that you otherwise couldn't utilizing purely the scenario flow. So with this, that would conclude my lesson on how you can conduct these simulations. For any questions that you have, please feel free to post them on the forums. And for anything else that we have putting out in the future, feel free to like and subscribe and hit that bell notification to see what else we are producing. Thank you so much.